Treehouse time!
That's right, it's Treehouse time, and I am so glad that you're joining me in the Treehouse today. Okay, friends, we've been talking about the commands of Jesus and thinking of them as life apps. And this week's app is Rejoice in Persecution. Whoo, friends! Rejoice is an easy word. It means to be joyful. But persecution, that is not such an easy word. And it definitely is not easy if it's happening to us. In case you don't know, persecution is when people harass you or treat you badly just because they don't like something about you, like your religious beliefs. Jesus commanded us to rejoice when people persecute us, just because we're his followers, just because we're Christians. How are we supposed to rejoice and be joyful when people are persecuting us? Well, let me show you a video about a boy in Iraq named Noah, and then I'll answer that question.
What do you like best about your house? Perhaps it's your bedroom or your things, or maybe it's just the feeling of being safe. Imagine you had to leave your home, not knowing whether you'd ever return. How would you feel? In some countries in the Middle East, war has forced a lot of people to leave their homes. In Syria, 12 million people have either left the country or moved to a safer part. That's over half the population not living in their own homes. In Iraq, a lot of towns and villages were attacked. Thousands of families and friends had to leave very quickly. Most of them ended up living in camps. That's what happened to Noah and his family. Noah came from a village called Karamles. When some enemy fighters came to their village, they had to run for their lives. They went to Erbil, where they ended up living in a refugee camp. But they never forgot their home. Then one day there's some great news. The fighters have been driven out of the village. It's safe enough for some people to visit. The church leaders, Father Martin and Father Tharbet, head straight to the church. There's a lot of damage, but they are so happy that they ring out the church bells. Over half the houses in the village were set on fire by the enemy fighters, and Noah's house is one of them. Noah feels very sad as he wanders through the dust and ashes. Everywhere smells of smoke. In his bedroom, he finds his old bed, its metal frame bent and melted by the heat of the flames. But suddenly he notices something at his feet. My marbles! Once he had hundreds of marbles, but he had to leave them behind when his family fled. Although the fire was very fierce, some of the marbles have survived. On a hill overlooking Karamles, Father Tharbet plants a large cross covered in flowers. It's a sign that this is a Christian village and one day it will be rebuilt. Noah and his family are planning to live in their house again. He says, "We want to return home. We thank everyone who is helping us. This is our land." Christians in Iraq have been through a lot. They have been through fire, just like the marbles. But they have survived.
Whoa, friends, wouldn't that be awful? Noah's church and house were burned out just because he and his family were Christians. But in the middle of his burned out bedroom, Noah was able to find something to be happy about, a few of his treasured marbles. And that's sort of the answer to why we should rejoice when we are persecuted. We get a hidden reward. No, we're not going to get a bunch of marbles. The hidden reward is a forever life in heaven with Jesus. Now that's an incredible reward. Jesus wants us to realize that even though it's hard to go through life being made fun of or mocked or having our houses burned out or even worse, we are still to rejoice because the persecution is only temporary. That means it's only for a short time. But the reward for following Jesus is forever. And that is why we need to rejoice. And that's why our life app for today is rejoice in persecution. Something else I want you to think of is that we need to remember the people who are being persecuted all over the world. And as we do, we need to pray for them, pray for God's protection, and pray that they are strong under the persecution so that they don't give up their faith. Will you do that with me, friends? Awesome. Okay, friends.
Read your Bible.
Keep loving and worshiping God. Love others. And tell everyone you know about Jesus. Jesus really loves you. And so do I. So long from the treehouse.
Yeah, when you